Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Minnesota State Park Hiking Club Trail Series. Today we traveled to Moose Lake, Minnesota to take the trail at Moose Lake State Park. This state park isn't too far from another state park we visited, Banning State Park, which we hiked in the same day as this hike. Efforts began in 1962 to bring a state park to Echo Lake and the surrounding area. By 1971, these efforts had paid off, resulting in the creation of Moose Lake State Park. The park is named after the town it is in, as the major body of water located within it is actually the previously mentioned Echo Lake. There are two smaller ponds north of the visitor center, and the hiking club trail travels around them, but the majority of the picnic areas and campsites are situated around Echo Lake in the main section of the park. It is a smaller state park, under 1,000 acres, but this can also be advantageous if you prefer to hike the less populous or busy trails. I ran into just one of other hiking family while I was out on the State Park Hiking Club Trail, so it has the advantage of, although it is small, feeling large due to the lower popularity compared to, say, Banning or Minneopa state parks. The ecosystems within the park are a mix of evergreen forests, deciduous, and wetlands. The park is also split between the southern and northern sections by Road 137. With the majority of the camping and lake recreation on the southern portion and the State Park Hiking Club Trail in the north in the forested area. The park also has an agate and geological center. It has a significant amount of exhibits about geology within the state, and in addition to being quite informative, it also has a significant amount of agates that can keep the little hikers entertained, while you can read up on the cool geological features around the state. The State Park Hiking Club Trail begins just outside of the visitor center. The trail is just under 2 miles and took us about 40 minutes to complete. I'd advise keeping your little ones close for the first section of it, as it crosses the road pretty shortly after the start. But once you cross the road, you step into the woods. The woods throughout the trail alternate between heavy evergreen patches and colorful deciduous trees. But this initial section of evergreens you come upon the first section of the two small bodies of water. There were wonderful birds calling when we passed through this area, and we took a moment to look out over the water before heading into the forest. The next section is relatively flat and straight, with some curvature as you continue. You may pass a few shelters and areas to camp for the evening. They are pretty far in, so it's a neat camping spot, but it's also on a hiking trail, so keep that in mind. You're in the woods, but depending on the weather and the traffic, it's possible that you'll hear some occasional car sounds as you get closer to 35 or the eastern edge of the park. As you approach the eastern edge of the park, the trail will abruptly turn back south, and the flatness ebbs away as the trail becomes more rolling than flat and straight as it meanders around the forested edge of the park. Finally, you'll gradually turn back towards the west, and the underbrush will fade away, but not before a darker evergreen section of the forest that gives an incredible deep woods feel. But it's also accompanied by some of the telltale evergreen aromas. The section then breaks, and you find yourself gradually returning towards the beginning of the loop before heading back to the visitor center. My favorite part of the trail was its tranquility. We started the day off looking at foliage at Banning State Park, followed that up with this hike at Moose Lake State Park, and the contrast between the two could not be more clear. They're both beautiful in their own way, but it's Moose Lake's sparse visitors. I ran into only just the one other hiking family on the trail, which gave the hike a fantastic and impressive tranquility and peacefulness that was absent from the overcrowded Banning State Park. Both parks have beautiful foliage, although Banning has a beautiful river. Moose Lake's deep woods feel holds its own. Also, at some points during the hike, you can smell the most fragrant forest smells.
It smells absolutely amazing out here. The trees smell amazing. Just take it in.
The kind you'd expect to find in a candle shop. I had to pause for a moment to take it in. It was an absolutely stunning feature that I just did not expect to run into on the trail. It was wonderful. Thank you for watching, and if you like this video, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons. Also, make sure to check out the rest of the Minnesota State Park Hiking Club trails in this series.